Well, just on that point, it's really interesting because when I've done a bit of research around the subject, that sounds like you're describing resilience. I think the definition I hear of resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. And so you've suffered, you had a really bad injury in your career, didn't you? And that was right at the time when you got to, I think, you're world number 3 at the point.
Yeah,
and can you talk us through that process of your injury and how you dealt with the setbacks and how you felt you were resilient and were able to bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you say, I was world number 3 and I had a year out with an Achilles injury. I had to have a bone spur removed on my Achilles. So yeah, it was a challenging time because, yeah, as I say, I was sort of up there and it was, I was in the, the peak of my career sort of thing, as you could say. So that was obviously a challenging year.
How old were you at the time?
Pardon?
How old were you at the time?
It must have been sort of 8 years ago, I would say. 8 to 10 years ago. So I must have been, late 20s, 28 or so, I would imagine. I can't remember. It's gone, it's how it's just flown by. But yeah, that was definitely one of the most challenging points of my career. Just the day-to-day. Initially, you're like, oh, you have to obviously have the operation and you're out of action for a bit, just recovering. And then you're like, you go through the rehab phase. And there's always setbacks in that rehab. It's never as clear and smooth as you think it will be. Mm-hmm. And it's almost, I think at that time, it was like not setting myself goals to think, I'm going to be playing a tournament in 6 months. I think that I did that once and then I didn't make it. And then that sort of leads to further disappointment. Okay. So I kind of, at the time, I was like, I'll only play when I am back 100%. I wasn't going to come back at 80% and risk further injury. But yeah, it was definitely tough. Like the rehab is obviously very boring and you're doing it sort of twice a day and everything is about getting back fit. So I think you definitely have to be, as you say, that mental toughness, the resilience to come back. And also you think, you do have doubts about whether you will get back to that level. Right. A year's gone by, obviously the standard improves, everyone else